Hello and welcome to the Elephant Lounge. I'm your host Tuesday, and I want to thank you so much for joining me. And we are back for the second episode of Why Are They Guilty? Now, in the first episode, I talked to you up
because James saved.
And here again, now they're attacking Dan Reed, and this is what they do with everything. Dan Reed is trying to say exactly what everyone else has been saying, and anyone with a mind can understand this. I'm sorry that it's too nuanced for some people to figure out. Abuse is ugly. It's messy, it's complicated. Victims are going to be confused about things. But I have no doubt in my mind that he was abused in the train station. At what age, at what time? That train station we know was there before 1993. I have no doubt about that, especially considering everything that I know about Michael Jackson. This is what poking holes is. But ultimately, no matter how many holes they poke in this scenario, inside this narrative, they cannot tear down the entire narrative, and that's their problem. And attacking Dan Reed is not going to prove anything other than they're protecting a pedophile.
Chuck has signed not one but two sworn declarations in which he states that Michael Jackson never abused him after 1992. Right. So in order to defend his documentary, he's throwing its star witness under the bus by calling him a perjurer, but also he's upended the...
Calling him a perjurer where? This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. These accusations are made and they're not supported by any facts. Again, the only thing they've shown is that it's very difficult for an adult male to remember all the little details that happened to him while he was abused by a monster freak with a plastic face. This is a problem when you're dealing with people who are very rigid in their thinking and they're very inconsistent. You'll notice that people who defend Michael Jackson, they allow for any type of nuance when it comes to Michael Jackson. They don't care that he owned books with naked children in them. That's okay with them. They don't mind that he built an amusement park or that he had a zoo to lure children in. They don't care that he fit the profile of a pedophile and had multiple allegations. That's okay. But when it comes to James or Wade, oh boy, it's black and white. There's no room. You better know every date, every time, every little detail down to the color of your socks that you wore that day, because otherwise you're a liar.
The entire narrative of his documentary.
Leaving Neverland contradicts the alleged victim's own sworn depositions. In the video, Wade Robson spins a dramatic tale of being...
This is really egregious right here. So they show this excerpt from a document, but they don't say where this document comes from. So let's read it. The trial judge in Robson's initial case against the estate found one of Robson's lies on the key issue in the case, i.e., when he learned about the estate for statute of limitation purposes, so clear that the judge took the extraordinary step of disregarding Robson's sworn statement on a summary judgment motion. The judge found that no rational fact finder could possibly believe Robson's sworn statement, i.e. his lie under oath, given the unequivocal evidence to the contrary, and issued judgment in the estate's favor as a result. That's not true. Number one, they don't show you the actual judgment, do they? If they were going to show you facts, they would go to the primary source, which is the actual judgment, and show us where the judge said that. What the judge was talking about is that there would be no rational fact finder that could possibly believe that the Jackson estate would be responsible because it was shown that Michael Jackson was the final say, meaning Michael Jackson didn't report to anybody else. He was the head. That's what the judge was talking about. Anybody who actually read the judgment would know that. This statement right here is pulled from the lawsuit, the filings with HBO, when the estate went after HBO. That's where this is pulled from. It is a complete distortion. And this kind of stuff just irritates me. It's just one thing after the next.
Left alone in 1990 with Michael Jackson at Neverland. Robson claims that while his family was hundreds of miles away at the Grand Canyon, Michael Jackson abused him for the first time. But that's not the story Robson told in his lawsuit against Jackson's companies or in a deposition under penalty of perjury just months before HBO's cameras began rolling. There, he claims his family was still at Neverland when it first happened, and his sister was sleeping upstairs in Michael's room. Two entirely different versions of events told by Wade Robson, just 2 months apart.
The first night, the night prior, we both slept in the bed with Michael. And at some point that second night, she said to me, I think we should, you and I should sleep upstairs. I don't know why. I don't know why she said that or why she thought that. But I didn't want to. So whenever it was bedtime, she went upstairs and Michael and I stayed in the bed downstairs. And I believe at some point that night the abuse started.
So which is it? The version Wade Robson tells in a sworn deposition, or his version in Leaving Neverland? If he changes his story in 2 months for the cameras, how can you trust him at all?
This is... Oh my gosh, here we go again. The boy was 7 years old, okay? He's going back. He's trying to put information together. He knows that he was abused at some point when they first visited Neverland. What they're really attacking here is a discrepancy of a day or two. So they stayed at Neverland the first night. His sister and him apparently slept in the room with Michael Jackson. That was in the documentary. His sister slept upstairs the second night. That was in the documentary. And then he was abused by Michael Jackson. They're literally trying to nitpick at one night. Now, if you're going back into your past and you're trying to remember all this stuff when you're 7 years old, there's nothing terribly shocking about somebody saying, wait a minute, I think it did happen this night. I remember something did happen. And then I remember, this may have happened. The more you think about things, the more information comes to you. I like to describe memory sort of like a sandwich, as it were. Okay. So if I'm going to tell you a story, let's say I tell you a story about my past when I was a little kid, I'm going to go right there to the meat of the issue that I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to talk about the main pertinent event that happened in my life. I'm going to tell you the story. A lot of times what happens is when we go back into our past and we're retrieving these events that happened to us, it might be an hour later, 2 hours later. It could be a few days later in many cases. It could be a month later. Now that we've retrieved that memory, a lot of times something else will come back to us. We'll remember just what happened just before that, or we'll remember what happened just after that, like the bread, as it were. And then we'll start remembering the ketchup and the lettuce. We'll start remembering more and more details. These are how memories work. So nothing that Wade is saying or conveying, whether it's in his deposition or his original complaint or what he's saying right now, this is all very, very common. Instead of trying to understand this or maybe interview somebody who deals with memory, why didn't they interview somebody or a psychiatrist or somebody who specializes in memories and learning about memory? They're out there. There's an expert for everything. Why not interview somebody about that and talk about how memories are retrieved in our minds and how they can evolve? Now, that might not be a comfortable reality that Jackson fans want to deal with, but that is the truth. You can look this stuff up online. You can talk to an expert. We all know people. Ask around, ask your doctor, see if they can give you some information that you can read about, because it's out there. Nothing that he says is inconsistent with that reality. Yet this video, this piece of propaganda, it's trying to manipulate the audience by suggesting that somehow this is on purpose, that he's purposefully lying or distorting. And I also want to include that if you go back and look at my podcast where I talk about Maureen Orth and I go through her article that she wrote, in one of those articles, she had interviewed a staff member back in 2004. 2004, people. This is before Wade or James came forward. And the staff member specifically mentions Wade being left at Neverland alone the first time he visited. visited. Boom. There's your corroboration. So, no, he's not a liar. And that came back from 2004.
But that's not all. Earlier testimony by Robson and his mother contradict the entire 1990 story told in Leaving Neverland that director Dan Reed uses as a foundation for the film. Robson's mother, Joy, testified in 1993 that her son was never alone with Michael Jackson at Neverland until that year. And here she is seen confirming under oath in 2016 that her entire family, husband, parents, and kids, went on the trip to the Grand Canyon.
I understand that you stayed then 2 different weekends at Neverland on that trip, is that right?
Yes.
And then in between you and your kids and your husband and your parents all went on tourist trip to the Grand Canyon?
Yes.
So you were there, is it 2 nights the first time?
Yes.
And then you came back after...
And this is a bit deceptive because she did go with her kids and her family to the Grand Canyon. Wade was left behind. The way they worded it, they didn't ask her which kids. They didn't specify. They're trying to distort what she's saying. This kind of stuff just frustrates me, you guys. This is the kind of stuff that really frustrates me because it's so deceptive. And just to think they're attacking victims, that's the thing that just kills me. They're attacking victims. They're not talking about Michael Jackson. They're not talking about why he had little boys sleeping in bed with him alone. Oh no, we don't want to talk about that. Let's attack the people that are victims. It's just disgusting to me.
Your whole family had gone away.
Yes.
And you spent another, 2 nights?
At Neverland, yes.
Robson himself testified as an adult that the first time he visited Neverland without his mother was in 1992 or 1993, which means he would not have been alone at Neverland with Michael Jackson in 1990, as leaving.
He was alone, and he has somebody to corroborate that from 2004.
Neverland claims. In other words, Robson and his family over time have told multiple versions of a key story viewers heard in Leaving Neverland. So which is it? The version Joy Robson tells in her deposition, or the version Dan Reed presents in Leaving Neverland?
You know, the best part is that most of these fans that are out there, most of these people that eat this stuff up, they couldn't tell me what they did last month, but they're going to sit here and nitpick over a couple days.
James Safechuck's dramatic scene where he claims Michael Jackson gave him jewelry for sex, including an alleged wedding ring, was deceptively staged and edited to appear as one seamless scene, when, in fact, it was actually edited together from filming done on 2 separate occasions 17 months apart, and done intentionally to pump up the drama of the scene. You can tell by looking at his clothes, essentially the same in both shots, except he forgot the undershirt the second time around. And look out the window. Clearly different seasons, with the plants trimmed in one shot, but not the other. Once people pointed out the changes, Dan Reed was forced to admit he went back and rented the same Airbnb to recreate and reshoot the scene nearly a year and a half later. Can viewers trust deceptive editing?
Can viewers trust this nonsense? What is this? What is this? Deceptive editing, people. Oh my God, they went and did a pickup scene. Yeah, like pretty much every single production ever done from the beginning of time. Oh my goodness. I mean, this absolutely proves nothing. From what I understand, he was cleaning out his attic or something and he found the rings and then he told Dan Reed about it, and that should be something that should be included, obviously. And so they went back and shot the scene. What is deceptive about that? Where is the deception? That's part of his complaint. That's part of what happened to him. We also have video that people found of a news report talking about Michael Jackson with James Safechuck on film inside a jewelry store. And James himself said that happened more than once. I mean, what more? How are you? I don't know. I can't. I have to stop it here because we're going on way too long. I will come back and I will finish this. I want to thank you so much, and I hope that this is helpful. I just want to sort of recap some things.